Okay, today we're going to go over some improvements to the track system and add some amendments to the video we did before on the track. Some people were having issues with the track update being attached to the input axis because it's attached to multiple input axes, and that means one function is getting called by different things at the same time, which can cause some errors in a few specific situations. So we are going to go over a methodology where we put it onto tick, and we also have a check to make sure it only updates when it's supposed to, so it's not just eating through your processing power. The first small thing here is someone had this issue on the Discord, and we were able to resolve it. Their tracks were all weird. This is actually an issue of a model offset, not anything wrong in Unreal or anything with the blueprint. So if you look here, if the track is offset, which is, that's quite normal to do if, you're making your tank and your track's going to be off to the side. But when you export it, you actually want to put it in the center, and you want to make sure the axis is rotated towards X forward, which you can see just like that. So Z up and X forward. So then once that is set, you want to export this. I already have the model imported, so I'm just going to re-import it. And as you can see, that's how I think you would want it to look. So if you're having that issue, check your model, make sure the pivot's correct. And let's get into the tick update. This is going to be an overview. We're not going to do it step by step, but I will explain kind of each part. This section is just checking, is the player moving and not falling? And if they are, then go ahead and update it, because that's really the only time you need to update the track, or if the player turns in place. So this is just checking the turn axis down here. I just see if the player's turning, so that way the treads still turn even when I'm not moving forward at all, but I'm just turning in place. I've also adjusted the kind of turn system for this particular AI, which I will go over at the end of this video as well. So once this AI starts moving, you notice it'll go straight, and whenever it wants to turn, it will kind of stop, and it will turn in place and then go forward. And that's so it doesn't like slide sideways on its tracks. There's a few other ways to handle this. In my truck, I have it do kind of slow, smooth turns, which is another way to handle it. And we'll go over that. That's in here. That's this slow until aligned. And then the rotate normal is the same, but we'll review that quickly. Okay, so in terms of the move treads, that's this event here. These are duplicates. There's one for the left, one for the right. So we're just gonna go over one since they're the same. So the first, this you only do once, basically as soon as it starts, and you just want to grab the location. If you look here, I have these locations way out front, and how far forward you put this, what this will do is it will determine how much it turns, how much the treads move when you're moving in place. So I'm not actually moving forward, but if I just turn, you want the treads to move forward, or move, not necessarily one moves forward, one moves back. That's like how treads work. So I'm just gonna copy this, but if I move these really far forward, can I select both? Yes. Notice they're gonna move even more. Or if I move them very close to kind of the pivot, they're gonna move very little. You can see that. And this is just kind of a preference. There's really not a right or wrong answer. If you look at like reference footage of treads, they do slide a little bit when they turn in place. Like that's a thing that tanks do. Doesn't like perfectly have perfect traction when it pulls that maneuver. So just kind of move it relative to however you want it. There is also the max tread move ratio, so you'll want to balance it with that. You can't just use one or the other, because there's a good chance how quickly you want it moving when you're going forward or back is a different ratio than how you want it quickly you want it turning relative to when you turn it in place. So that's, you can adjust both of those depending on how you want it to work. Okay, so you grab the location just once when things start. Yeah, this is what we just went over. You're gonna need this whole system here. You're basically, it looks a little complicated, but we're basically just checking what direction is the movement, because this distance vector is agnostic of direction. So this will tell, hey, is the tread going forward or backward relative to the forward vector of the actor. And then we are going to multiply that, just -1 or just 1. And then we are going to get the distance and then the tread move ratio. This is totally arbitrarily set. We can set this to kind of however we want. Obviously, if we set it to lower, the tread moves slower. Oops, this is the tread moves slower relative to how far we move, and then if you set it higher, it will move faster. Just like that. I'm actually going to move this spawn point, since I want to be able to move around on the hills a little bit, since I think that's when tanks are most fun. Yeah, there we go. Nice. Okay. So this determines this, and this is basically how much you want the tread to move. This is like how far the tread has moved from default. So when we're moving it, so we have the instance mesh and the spline, we are basically adding the offset to the current distance, which will get updated slowly. And then we're doing this for every single tread piece. So these are the instance count. We want the last index, so it's 1 minus the count. Since we start at 0, that's just how arrays typically work. And then this is all the same from last video. I'll kind of scroll through it in case you want to look. But this is just moving along the spline. And then we're also outputting the distance, so that way we can update it at the end. So that's the system. So basically the main change is it's using these kind of offset points instead of being connected to the input. In terms of the rotate normal, this is the same. This is what lets us rotate the tank to kind of align to the train. You can see like that. And then this, the slow until aligned. Basically, I've changed some things in the... You may not want this to be set up this way if the player's controlling it, but it does make the AI, when they control it, look a lot better. So I turned off the use controller rotation yaw right here. However, within the character movement, I changed the use desired controller rotation and then turned down the rotation speed a little bit. So what that means is it's not going to snap. So here, I'll turn this back on so you can see. So this, it's basically always going to snap perfectly to wherever you're looking. So I don't want it to do that. I want it to kind of like try to catch up. And right now I think I have, yeah, I'm going to turn off camera lag so you can see. Yeah, there you go. It's a bit more evident that it's always snapped to the location. So I don't actually want that. I want it to try to catch up. So you can turn off this, and then it will default to this. It even kind of mentions in the tooltip, hey, if you're using this, you probably want to turn off the use controller yaw, and see it's trying to catch up to wherever you're looking, like that. Makes sense? Okay. The other way to do this is you probably could just do, if you get the player controller, and then get controller, and then are these the same? This would be the other way you could do this if you just wanted to, hey, if the player's controlling it, just update it every tick. And that would fix this issue here, where it was aligned with the normal. Because you notice it technically wasn't lining up with the normal there. When this was there, since I wasn't actually moving any yaw, so it wasn't updating. But the main reason you wouldn't want to update it every tick is if you have like a lot of AI using this. So, all right. So this is the normal line, or the slow until line. So this checks, hey, is the controller and the actor's rotation aligned? And if they are, use the normal speed here. And if they're not, go ahead and use a slower speed. And you just kind of blend the max walk speed there. So that's it. I just wanted to cover a few of the kind of bugs that people were running into and how to resolve those, and then cover the new kind of track system using the actual distance moved versus axis input. So if you were looking to do that, and if it doesn't work for you, or if it does work, just let me know if you need any help. Either post and comment, or if you have a more complex problem, you need to post screenshots and stuff, just jump into the Discord and start posting. I'm pretty quick to respond to those things, and I can even try to repo whatever's happening to you and figure out how to resolve it. All right, catch you later. Good luck.